you can move wherever you are. And I believe that there's something out there for everyone. It might be a little unorthodox, but whatever it is that gets you moving, do it. Because one other thing I like to stress to people is that this wonderful gift, our bodies, are use it or lose it. So a lot of people.
Hello, Karen. Good morning. How are you doing? Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Yair. It is so good to be here with you. I can't wait to exchange ideas with you here today. And of course, we are doing our assignment for Evan Carmichael, and our one word for today is passion. So
Very
let me
nice.
ask you first, Yair, what does passion mean to you?
Oh, passion has, it has so many meanings for me. And today, actually, I'll be more than happy to hear from you about passion and movement, but we'll leave that for a few minutes on. I believe passion is a word we use a lot today, and like you have to have passion in what you do. And I think the passion is not, I won't say always, but most of the times the passion is there. There's a saying in the word in the book, The Power of Now. When you go through anything in life, through any event, and you don't have the passion, it's not necessarily that you need to do something else. It's maybe you need to change the way you look at what you're doing. And not so instead of doing it in a certain way, so look to what you could connect. So I believe passion is something that we should find in everything. Sometimes if we don't find it at all, okay, we could keep on and continue in life. But many times I could also say at work, sometimes we're not passionate about everything. So it doesn't mean to throw everything in the garbage. It just means to, okay, what couldn't we be passionate about over here? Or in a relationship, if now the relationship is not going that well. So what could we be passionate about the relationship? And again, also in sports, again, if there's no other no area in that specific event that we could find a passion. So then maybe there's some more questions there. So I think passion is needed. I think it's great. I just think sometimes it's overrated because we should also work when we don't necessarily always find that passion. So
Mm.
I think it's important. I think it's amazing. I think we should have it, but we should know that also sometimes it's not there and we still need to do the work and grow, and it's not always there, but yeah, it should be there 100%.
That's an interesting point that you brought about that passion is not always there. And that's the honest to God truth. And I always encourage people to find their passion. I believe that each and every one of us is born with a purpose. There are certain seeds of greatness that are within us, and there are things that we're attracted to, and we enjoy doing them. Oftentimes, we're introduced to that something early on in life, and we do it in school, we do it when we're younger, and we may have abandoned it for any one of many reasons. Our parents told us, you can't make any money doing that, or you yourself may find that you have a family now to support and you can't afford to do it. But whatever that thing was that you were meant to do in this lifetime, it is within you. And sometimes we discover it by accident later on. But one thing I feel strongly about is that it'll keep creeping up or popping up throughout your life to remind you that that's the thing you're supposed to do.
Nice.
And it will until you recognize it and start doing that thing. But even with the thing that you are absolutely most passionate about, that you love doing, there are days that you just don't feel like doing it. I don't care how good it is, how much fun it is. There's always a day when we just don't feel like doing it. So you're absolutely right. Passion does mean that we may have to make a little adjustment. We might have to change our mindset or our view towards what we're doing to rekindle that passion. So that was a great point. I definitely agree with that.
How do you see passion? And I also wonder, how do you get passion into the whole movement, field in life? Because that's an area that many people, they have passion for one day, they buy those nice sport shoes, but then and then it stops. So I would love to hear, on that.
Oh, that is so true. That is so true. Passion to me means a connection, an emotional connection. So when you're passionate about something, your whole energy, your whole mood changes when you experience it. So let's just say, for example, that you like to run. I don't know if you actually do like to run or not, but let's just say that you do.
Yeah, I
You
do.
like running. So you might have had the worst day there in the office, but once it's time to run, you get excited, you feel better, you're ready to leave the office day behind and just get running. You're looking forward to it. Passion adds meaning to life. When you're passionate about something, you don't need an alarm clock. You wake up automatically looking forward to doing that thing that you're passionate about. And of course, if it's a relationship, you look forward to seeing that person that you're passionate about. But when you're not passionate, or how do you keep that passion going? It's like passion hits you like a spark, right? You just get ignited. But now, how do you keep that momentum going? You keep that going by continually doing that thing. Sometimes life is designed where we realize what we're passionate about, but unfortunately, we can't make that our full time activity. Maybe we do have a family to support and we have to work this other job. Well, schedule that thing that you have passion for whenever you can. So whether it's after work, whether it's every, Saturday when you're off, but keep that going. Keep that going and remind yourself, especially if it's a goal of yours. I encourage people, and a lot of people who are into motivation, encourage to write down what you're passionate about as far as your goals and review them daily, because life happens.
For sure.
You might say, I want to be something. Like I myself aspire to be a motivational and inspirational speaker. But then life happens. The kids get sick, the car breaks down, stuff happens. And before you know it, you will have forgotten what it is that you're passionate about.
So, Karen, you're talking a lot about the passion and the importance, and that basically a lot of it has to do with something inside of us that is always there. Sometimes in life we could do more of it, and sometimes less. But my question is, how does someone continue with the passion first when it deteriorates and it's not there? And especially, since you're an instructor in the whole movement area, and I'll let you talk more about that. I'm a big believer in movement, and I want to know how do people continue with the movement, continue finding that passion in the movement that is good for them? Since if they do that, they could really change their life. And the reason I'm saying it, and then I want to hear, what you have to say about it, because you're the expert here. I remember I was going out with a girl, and I love running, by the way. I love running. I love running in the nature. And she also thought she needs to run. Now, I have passion for running. It doesn't mean that I always want to run. Sometimes I can't stand it, but I do have the passion for it. And she bought the sport shoes. And of course, after 2, 3 times, she threw them away. Like I told her, there's no reason for you to run. You have no passion for it. But for movement in general, find the passion in something that has to do with movement. So I would love to hear your view about that. When you met so many people that you have coached. So how do you help them find that passion in the movement? And maybe that's a specific movement, maybe it's not, but I'll let you talk from here.
Absolutely. And I strongly feel, well, first of all, here's what I believe. I believe that people should live the most fulfilled, passionate life, and that we should continuously grow and develop and improve ourselves and learn to become the most fullest version of ourselves. And the foundation to doing all of that is being in good health. Our bodies are the most amazing gift we'll ever get. I don't care how nice your house is, how fancy your car is, how advanced your computer is. It will never come close to what our bodies can do for us. And it doesn't matter how our body looks. Oftentimes we get distracted because we're not as voluptuous, or, there's something about ourselves that we don't like. But function-wise, our bodies are the only thing that's keeping us going to make life possible for us. We cannot exist without our bodies. And so it's important to take care of your body, to have an enjoyable life, especially as you get older, because as you get older, there's arthritis, the joints start to degenerate. I'm sure you'll see that with knees later on if you run a lot. And it's important to take care of your body so that you can have the best life possible for as long as you possibly can. And that's what I really encourage people to do. Recently, I've had occasions to see doctors, and the doctors are booked solid. I can't get an appointment to see a doctor. I have said, I need to see a doctor today, and they're like, well, the doctor can see you next month. So I'm supposed to just sit here and suffer until the doctor's free to see me next month. That's why I encourage people, don't put yourself in a position where you're, dependent or relying on doctors. We might all have to be at some point, but as long as you can be healthy, active, positive, do that. And you said something key. You talked about, your girlfriend buying sneakers and running with you. And after 2 or 3 times, she's like, no, she threw the sneakers away. there are so many forms of movement: walking, jogging, running, biking, hiking, swimming, tennis. You can rekindle a sport that you used to play when you were younger, and that's always fun. Doing something that maybe you did in high school or whatever, and whatever works for you. And I encourage people to start off small, because sometimes when we're overweight, we decide, I'm tired of this, I want to lose weight. And of course, you want the weight gone, like, so you may go to the gym, you might overdo it, you might do a series of exercises that you absolutely hate. You might end up really sore the next day and feel like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And so there's no need for that. When I talk about being healthy and fit, I'm talking about being healthy and fit for life. So that can definitely come in small changes, and your body responds to each and every positive change that you make, even if it's small, even if it's something as simple as, I'm not going to add salt to my food anymore. Your body appreciates that and it responds to that. So I always encourage people to do small, doable steps, baby steps that will get you to your ultimate goal. So as far as movement is concerned, it could be something as simple as, if you work in an office building, don't try to get the spot closest to the front door. Park way back there and walk. If you work on the second floor or higher, take the stairs. Those are small, doable habits that you can do over time, and then you can always build upon that. And secondly, once you do decide to exercise, you're clear from the doctor and you can do everything, no restrictions, pick something that you really enjoy doing and do that one thing.
Wow. You know, the beauty of what you just now said is it kind of dismantles a lot of the excuses that I hear a lot of times, that I don't have that time in the morning to go and, you know, wear those exercise clothes and take a shower and whatever it is after. And what you just now said is pretty simple. You didn't even talk about taking that time in the morning. You just said you're going to work anyways, right? So just park a little bit before and walk. I think breaking it down into those simple steps, whether, by the way, also people who do the exercise in the morning, I'm one of them, I'm still a big believer in movement during the day. So
Oh, yes.
what you said is so important, to break it down into a simple step, something that someone likes, not like something that we like, not something that someone else likes. But my question is, you know, you met a lot of people and you coach a lot of people in the movement area. What does someone do when they don't like to move? They don't like sports. Like they say it's not for me. Like, do you believe there are people that movement is not for them?
I wouldn't say no movement at all. I think everybody likes to move in some way. And again, it could be something, maybe you don't like the rigorous, we think of routine as this structured activity where it's just that and nothing else. You can go throw the ball around with the dog in the backyard. The dog's chasing the ball. You're running to get the ball. You can go walking with a friend after dinner, and you're walking and you're talking. You I am over the moon obsessed with Zumba. I love Zumba. That is what I taught for 8 years. And so that's dancing. You put on music and you start dancing. So there's really something for everyone. There's so many different forms of movement. Maybe you used to play handball or racquetball or something like that. Whatever it is, just try to do something. They have so many adaptable things, even if you're home, even if you travel a lot for work and you're in the hotel room, there's so many things you can do. You can, and absolutely throughout the day, work out. There's some people that are of the opinion that, yes, they'll sit and watch TV, but on commercial breaks, they'll do an exercise until the show comes back on.
Yeah.
So you're only limited by your imagination when it comes to forms of movement. You can just go back and forth like this, to start off. You can march in place. You in this little square without even moving. I can start pumping my arms. I can start reaching up and over. Not even so you can't even really say I don't have the space. Like, you can move wherever you are. And I believe that there's something out there for everyone. It might be a little unorthodox, but whatever it is that gets you moving, do it. Because one other thing I like to stress to people is that this wonderful gift, our bodies, are use it or lose it. So a lot of people, as they get older, all of a sudden they can't reach up anymore. Their shoulders hurt, or maybe they can't bend over as much as they used to.
Oh.
And these are functional things. When you go to the supermarket, you got to reach up. When you're reaching up in your cabinet for a dish, you got to be able to reach up. And you want to continuously keep those joints fluid and able to move. Otherwise, they get stiff and you can't do it. And then you're losing your independence. Can you imagine you have to wait for someone to come home or call someone over? Hey, can you get that dish on the top shelf? So that's why we want to, continually have our bodies as flexible as possible. We want to be able to move, as much as possible so that we're not limiting ourselves.
That's so important. I like what you said, either move it or lose it. And by the way, regarding dancing, I love dancing more like reggaeton and hip hop, and that could be much more intense. Dancing that for 2 hours, like it's much more intense for me than running. But I'm wondering because I also have friends that started different type of movement exercises that were good for them, and they did like it. But eventually they lost the passion for it. What do you recommend for someone? So number one, I'll take the recommendation that, like you said, if you don't move, you lose. You lose your body, you can't move. So someone that I guess doesn't have that passion anymore to do that type of movement that they did like at some point in life. So first take from the area of, okay, if I don't do it, I lose it. That could, I don't know if it create passion, but it would create that momentum to go back to do it. But is there something else that you recommend people to put in their mind that way when they lose their passion to continue with the exercise, they'll still do it?
Absolutely. And I think we've all, gotten off course for whatever reason. So it's important to go back and look at the reason. What happened? Did an event happen in your life and you got so busy doing this one thing that you forgot? I've been so busy. I have a son with autism. That comes up in every interview. I think I just throw it in there, but it's been so impactful on my life and so life altering that I forgot a lot of things that I like to do. But the good news is you can always rediscover it. So you may have forgotten it. And even now, I'm stumbling upon things that I used to do before I had my son. And it's like, oh, wow, yeah, I love to do that. And you get the same excitement once you're reintroduced to it. So the important thing is ask yourself, what happened? What happened? Why am I not doing this anymore? Why am I not passionate? Why do I not like it? It could be that they paired it with something unpleasant. Maybe they injured themselves doing something and they paired the activity with the injury and they're like, no, I don't want to do that anymore because I don't want to get hurt like that again. So it could be many things. So it really all depends on the reason why they're no longer passionate about it. But once you find out why, try to work on that to get it back if it means that much to you. And if you're really passionate about it, really work on getting that passion back. It makes life so much more enjoyable when you're doing the things that you're passionate about.
That's so amazing and so true. I wonder from where did you get that passion to start working out? Because maybe I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that it wasn't there your whole life, or it was. But like, from where did it start from?
Well, okay. I didn't even know it was my passion. I did exercise early on. I joined a gym at 19 because I was trying to spend more time with somebody else and they belonged to a gym. And once I saw group fitness, something just lit up inside of me. I'm like, I love this. Like I would go to group fitness classes like people would go to the club. I looked forward to it. I was excited. It was everything to me. But I lost sight of my passion. So I stopped going and I gained weight. I'm a person, if I'm not working out continuously, I will sometimes eat because I'm stressed out or whatever, and I'll gain weight before I know it. So after having my son and him being diagnosed with autism, I turned to food for comfort because that was a very upsetting time for me. And I ended up being 250 pounds. And part of my son's autism is that he would just run away when I least expected it. Like how we're sitting here talking, he would just stand up and just start running. And so he ran out the front door one day and I ran after him he was 3 and I couldn't catch him.
He was
And so
3 and
finally,
you couldn't catch him?
see, that's how bad it was. Yes, I
Wow.
couldn't catch him. So down the street, he ran down the street and he got tired and he was just standing there. He was not winded at all. He was just standing there looking at me running towards him. And I'm sweaty, I'm greasy, I feel all the weight pulling me down. And by the time I caught up to him, I couldn't even say anything because I was winded. So I'm all doubled over like, like this. And I realized in that moment, he's going to keep running away. He's going to get bigger, longer stride. And if I want to be here for his whole life, I got to get in better shape. And so I decided then and there that I was first going to clean up my diet, meaning make more healthy food choices. And I started going to the gym. And at first I started doing step aerobics. That was to me the best class that they offered. And I love step. It's awesome. But then they brought in Zumba. I saw Zumba. So I went from being 250 pounds doing step. I started lifting weights. And then they said, oh, we're going to bring Zumba into our gym. And when I saw what Zumba was, I almost lost my mind because there's something about it that definitely appeals to women. It reminds them that they're not just moms and the ball and chain and all this other negative stuff. They're women, they're women, they're vibrant, lively. And this is something that's just a whole part of me that had just like gone to sleep and died. And so I became so passionate about Zumba. Not only did I go on to lose another 30 pounds, but I became a certified Zumba instructor. So I went from being the student at this gym to becoming an employee of the gym.
Wow.
And I went on to teach there 8 years, and I would still be teaching had it not been for the pandemic. I am going to go back to teaching because once the pandemic hit, I once again was sitting home. I was eating, so I gained weight. But I realize now, that fitness is the way. There is no other way. If you want a long life, there's nothing else or nothing better than you can do than to be healthy, take care of your health, take care of your body, and anything else you want to do will build from there. But even, let's just say, for example, you were an aspiring writer, an author. You wanted to be a best-selling author. If you're always in the doctor's office having doctor's appointments, that's going to take away. Oh, I could have a meeting with this publisher, but I got to go to this doctor's appointment. I'm going to sit here for hours waiting for the doctor. It takes away your quality of life. Then you're tied to medication. It's just not the way. Fitness is the way. And so for the rest of my life, that will be, I have 3 messages, but that will be the main message that I preach to people. Take care of your bodies. It's the only vehicle that you have to get you through life. Especially as you get older, focus on taking care of yourself.
Wow, that's so important. You did get me curious about the other 2 messages, I'll be honest. Like, I totally understand that either move it or lose it, and that was crystal clear. But maybe just, throw in there those other 2.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, well, as I mentioned, I have a son with autism, and that is something, nothing in this life experience has even come close to touching me the way that has. My son now is 18. He's nonverbal, and he requires a lot of care. Showering, daily living skills that most people just get up and do. He needs help with all of it. So it's been very impactful for me. And autism is 1 in 44 people are diagnosed with autism. And the numbers just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And it's devastating to families. You don't know what to do. And me having had 18 years experience, number one, want people to know that they're not alone in this. I started overeating because I felt alone. I felt like it was just me and nobody else. There were things happening in my house that weren't happening anywhere else. So you feel isolated and alone. And I want to extend a hand to people and let them know they're not alone. Here's what worked well for me raising my son. Here's some mistakes that I made, because I made plenty, that you can avoid in raising your child. I can speak to relationships because a child has a mother and a father. So you kind of have to find your role in that in raising a child with autism. So there's a lot of knowledge I can impart, but I also want to uplift and inspire. I want people to know that raising a child with special needs in general, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So oftentimes, as soon as something's wrong with our child, we burn the midnight oil. We stay up all night looking for cures, causes, trying to make things better, treatments, and we burn ourselves out. And it's a marathon, so you have to pace yourself. You're going to be with that child for life. So pace yourself, take care of yourself so that you can be your best self for that child. So I want to impart all of that to special needs parents. And thirdly,
Before we go to the third, I think this is something really, really important. And I'm saying, just from what I'm hearing you say until now, by the way, also here, the movement, in order to stay focused and alive, we need to have that movement in there. But if someone over here is listening and has a child with special needs, I would love you to give it then your details if there's a way to contact you, because I'm sure there's a lot of support needed in the process. So before, just after the 3rd, if we could also give your contact information for people to contact you if there's a need.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Yes. And so the third thing is that I want everyone to know, and I'm definitely not the first person to say it. I'm not the only person to say it, but each and every one of us has these seeds of greatness with unlimited potential. You truly can wake up tomorrow morning and be, do, and have anything that your heart desires if you're willing to do the work. And so when I turn on my TV and I see all that goes on in the news, I see that although this is not a new message, there's a lot of people out there that don't realize that they have great potential within them. And the best example I can ever speak of with potential are sports figures. You look at people like Michael Jordan and Tom Brady, who at the beginning of their careers, they were not good. Tom Brady was chosen 199th overall, and he was backup quarterback. He was just sitting there. They wrote a ton of negative things about him, but he continued to work on that, and he developed a passion for that. And now everyone says he's the greatest ever. Same thing with Michael Jordan. He got cut from his high school basketball team, but he continued to work on it. And that's what I want to encourage people to do. Continually work on yourself, grow and develop that thing within you that's calling at you to do it. And you too will be remembered for your greatness. But instead of half the things that we're focusing on, focus on that. Often in times in life, we focus on a lot of things that we can't control. And I didn't discover that until the pandemic. I was hyper focused on the numbers. I watched the news at least 6 times a day to see what changes there were in the numbers. And I felt that the world was coming to an end, to be honest with you. I'm like, is this the end? But it turns out that there's lots of times in history that were just as bad, if not worse. And this probably is not the end. But I noticed that I was focusing on other things instead of focusing on improving myself. When you focus on things that you can't control, there's nothing you can do about it, and you get worried and frustrated because you can't do anything about it. But if you focus on those things that you can control, you can be great in any situation. Did you know that most of the Fortune 500 companies that are well established that we know today came out of the Great Depression? They decided in 1929 early on that they wanted to start a company. And despite the crash of 1929 and everything that declined after that, they still kept focusing on their goal and their dream. Walt Disney is one, Hewlett Packard. There's so many of them.
Yep.
But because they kept focusing on only what they could control, growing and developing their dream, they came out of the Great Depression massively successful. They didn't profit off the bad time. They just kept going with whatever their goal and dream was, no matter what else was going on around them that they couldn't control. So I want people to do that. Focus on what you can control, focus on your greatness, focus on achieving your goals and your dreams. Don't give that much attention to things that you can't control. And if you look back even 6 months from when you started, you will be amazed at how you've grown.
Wow, Karren, like you just gave like amazing golden nuggets, amazing tips for life. And I always believe in the past and believe also in the future and focusing on the next step. So whatever it is you said, each person, I believe, should take the first step in each field, whether it's the relationship with their kids, whether it's their fitness, whether it's focusing on what we could control, and after that, release, because we can't do more than that. And you really gave us amazing golden nuggets that can really help us in life. So I appreciate that. And we are going to have another session later on about autism and how how you can help parents that their children have autism. So I would appreciate that a different time. But until next time, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very, very much. And I'll see you hopefully pretty soon.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun talking to you, Yair. You are amazing. You're a great interviewer. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Oh, that would be pretty soon. I appreciate it. Really, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I hope you enjoyed the video and you got some tools to overcome your challenges and light your path. For us to help other people, please press that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget that the most amazing things in life are the one you take for granted.